Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is officially time for Coaching from the Couch. I am your host, CWall. I am so happy to be here with all of you as we get together every single week, Thursdays at 7:30, to talk all of our favorite sports in the Washington metropolitan area, the DMV, all of those above. I'm going to give everyone a chance to get on in the virtual room. Got to say what's up to Cameron Mingo. Got to say what's up to my girls, Sabrina and Faye. I see Uriah's checking in. I'm going to give everybody a minute to get on in the virtual room. Get on in the virtual room. Listen, I love to see the energy from all the great teams, fans in the area, saying what's up to Liddell and to John Adams. So happy to see everybody logging in. You all make sure you are sharing this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. Make sure you all share the show. And as my mom is tuning in, can everybody give a hey mom to my mother? I see Darrell Owens, owner of Legacy Maker Sports Network, tuning in. Damon, tuning in. You guys, we have a lot to discuss, because when is there a dull moment in DC sports? Never. Never, ever, ever. This week is no different. There's nothing dull. Might be a little quiet, right? But it's never, ever dull. So this week we're going to get into a bit of the Caps. So Caps fans, check in. Got to say what's up to the Caps fans. Got a little bit of the Nats. Got a bit of the Wizards. And we're going to absolutely close this thing out with the Washington football team. So if you all are ready, make sure you are sharing the show, like and loving the show. You want to make sure that your favorite fellow fans are tuned in live. Of course, you can always watch the show later. But hey, listen, as my cousin just tuned in, Veronica Anderson, you can always watch the show live with us. So let's get ready to get it started. And while we're chatting about it, make sure you are tagging your friends and looping them into the conversation, because we want to make sure we're reading as many comments as we possibly can. So, Caps fans, check in, Caps fans. The Caps had a blockbuster trade this week. Who knew? Who was expecting it? I know I wasn't. I wasn't expecting the Caps to make any moves during the National Hockey League trade deadline, but check it out. They have acquired Red Wings player Anthony Mantha. They traded away Jacob Vrana. And along with this trade was Jacob Vrana, Richard Panik, and they also traded a 2021 first round pick and a 2022 second round pick. As Cameron is saying right here, we were so super sad to see Vrana go. He was sad too. And I have to shout out, Vrana, because he had a very heartfelt message to Caps fans on his page. So, on his IG page. So make sure you all check it out when you get a chance. He mentioned that he was indeed shocked. So it's sad to see him go, but wow. what a move. What a move that the Caps made. So just a little bit for those who may not be familiar with Anthony Mantha. So he was the 2013 first round pick for the Red Wings. He scored 95 goals, 99 assists for 194 points in 302 career games. He did just sign a new deal with the Red Wings in November, so the Caps are picking that up. It's a positive thing. I mean, and the Caps just weren't done there. They also traded for Philadelphia's Michael Raffle, and that was a depth move. So we'll see what happens. But the Caps have been playing very well, and this move is a sign, at least to me, that they want to keep this thing moving all the way forward. All the way forward for sure. So we'll see what happens. Just sharing some reports on Anthony. It said he's 6'5", 234-pound forward, adds size to one of the biggest teams in the league because the Caps players are big players. Earlier this week, Tuesday, Mantha was lined up at left wing alongside Backey and Oshie. So we'll see. We shall see. I believe they're playing now. The Nats playing now too, I think. So more to come. But I think that the Caps sent a huge message by this trade. I think some Red Wings fans was maybe kind of shocked, but from some of the reports that I was reading, it said, basically it was like the Detroit team was kind of fell out of love with Anthony and was looking for something new, looking for a total rebuild. So in recent weeks, they were open to trading him, and they did, to the Caps. So we shall see. More to come for certain there. Nats. Cameron has already informed us that the Nats are winning 4-3. Let me ask you all something. Are you all concerned with the recent play of Strasburg, Max, and Corbin? Because I saw some reports that there was definitely some concern about how slow they're starting. They did win the series against the Cardinals earlier this week. But I just kind of wanted to get a sense. I'm still going to be off of what I was last week and the week before that. And that is the season just started. Can we give them a minute? The season just started. Now, if we start getting down into the season and things aren't looking so hot, then yes, okay, everybody should be alarmed. We should be worried, all of the above. But until then, let's just coast it out. Let's just see what happens. Also wanted to ask you all this question because I think it's important, and it goes along the line still with media and privacy of players. I don't know if you all saw this. I thought it was interesting that during one of the games, Strauss was kind of caught, tending to his own shoulder and kind of treating his shoulder. And of course that caused some concern. And he was very vocal after the game about spy cameras and just needing some privacy. He can treat his shoulder. Sometimes they bring the trainers over there to do it. But when that camera zoomed in on him, and of course that wasn't a good game for him, it was like flew all over the media and the internet. And we know this is part of business, right, y'all? We know that sometimes, you're going to catch players, having a conversation or doing something, but this was actually where the camera was, and that part of the dugout was an area where cameras should not have been. So, with that being said, you got to kind of, just keep your eyes on stuff like that. I see it both ways. I understand that some media channels are trying to find that moment. They're trying to find that, ooh, did you see that moment? But for the players, coaches, staff, they are just trying to stay focused, play the game. They're at work. It's a job. They're at work. So I could kind of feel Strasburg on that issue. I absolutely could feel Strauss on that. And I could get with him on, hey, he's treating his shoulder. Yes, it was sore and he was treating it, but it just flew all over national media outlets. And of course, it was all kinds of stories considering that was a bad game as well. But to anyone who may be concerned about what we call the big three of the pitchers with the Nats, I say give it some time. Let's see what happens. Let's just give it some time. It's still April. It's still very early. Let's not worry ourselves too much. I do believe things will continue to improve for certain. Now, moving on to the Wizards. Wizards fans, check in. And I see Joy has checked in, and I actually don't even have a drag the Wizards moment this week for us to highlight. Can you believe it? Wizards fans, check in. The Wizards have been doing all right on the West Coast this season, huh? Seems like they've been playing well on the West Coast. What a way to give the Utah Jazz a loss at home. Clutch move by Bradley Beal on a 4-point play to close out the game against Golden State. Very impressive win last night against Sacramento. I'm feeling, that's nice. I don't have nothing negative to say. Like Joyce said, finally. I don't have anything negative to say. Now, players are coming back from injury. So we know that Brad had been sitting out. He was having an issue. Ish Smith is back. Bertans is back. Some players have talked about lingering issues from when they had the COVID outbreak and all of that was going on with the Wizards. Here's the thing, and I want to share this with you all because I think it's important. I think this is a very important point, especially since I'm not going to spend any time dragging them. So since I'm not going to spend any time dragging them, I have to say something positive about them. And that is, semi-positive. That is, the Wizards are 1 game behind the Chicago Bulls, right, for the 10th seed in the East. And the 10th seed is the last spot for the play-in tournament, right? And so right now, they're tied with the Raptors, essentially, for the 11th spot. But the reality is, the Wizards can keep progressing. What I'm about to say next isn't local sports related, but I feel like it's important. When the Atlanta Hawks fired their coach, they had a worse record than the Wizards. And now I think the Hawks are like the 4th seed. They've gone on a surge right now and for the last few weeks. I think that's very important to note because the Wizards could go on a surge. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're about to be like the 5th or the 4th seed. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is they have a huge opportunity for the play-in tournament. Huge opportunity. Looking like everybody's healthy. Folks are feeling good. You have to absolutely commend Russell Westbrook on his play and how he's contributing. And the reality is this. When you have both Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal out there at the same time making a huge impact, and you get, let's say, Bertans and Rui going as well in the supporting cast. Let's not forget Alex Len. He's been doing great. Daniel Gafford, he also had gone out with the injury, and he's been back making an impact, hey, the team has a legit opportunity to play in this play-in tournament, to compete in the play-in tournament, and they got a chance. They got a chance. Wizards fans, seriously, and this is me. Y'all know I want to be honest with you all. They have a chance, and I want to go back to something that I was sharing with you all, and make sure you are subscribing and listening to the Triple W podcast. We're on Spotify as well as on YouTube, covering the Wizards and other NBA news and women in sports with 3 other of my most amazing Wizards media colleagues. When the Wizards were going through their slump and losing streaks, you know, it was always so evident that this team still had such a belief of themselves. And they were still so adamant that they were a much better team than the outcome of the game. And it seems like now the things are coming together now. Lord, please, Wizards, please don't start tomorrow, start acting crazy out there, okay? So please don't, because I'm giving you a lot of compliments right now. But it got a chance. And to John's point, yes, they have to stop the turnovers. That's absolutely a fact. Absolutely a fact. They must stop the turnovers. And I see my classmate, Sam Cabbage Stalk, checking in, and he's sharing the Wizards, they getting in them playoffs. I think so. They're getting hot. They're playing good, solid basketball. And here's another thing that I saw that I thought was so interesting, that the Wizards have more wins against teams with winning records than they do against losing teams. Why is that? Every time I sit and I look at the stats or look at the standings, and then exactly to the point that I just shared, look at who they lost to, I'm like, that was a winnable game. They could have won those games. They should be, if we're being completely fair and unbiased and being completely fair, they should at least be at a good 6 or 7 seed right now, comfortably. So we shall see, Wizards fans. There is hope. And I said, I'm going to see. And we talked about this last week, you all. We talked about this. Should they fight to keep going, or should they tank? And we said, no tanking allowed. You must keep fighting. And I wanted to see how they were going to act on this West Coast trip. And the last time they were out west, they had a good run. It was good. So that showed me, and I hope showed all of you, they're trying to win. They want to absolutely win. And I think it's doable. Now, here's something that Brad shared the other night with the media in his press conference about the play-in tournament. And he's like, that's kind of our goal right now. Obviously, we're going to need some help from some other teams, which means some other teams are going to have to start losing and all of that. But we're just taking it a game at a time and controlling what we can control. And this was a really good trip for us, obviously. I wish we could have gotten them all, but 4-2 on the West, that's really good. And I agree. These were no fluke games. These were not fluke wins. The Wizards have it in them. Can they keep going? Can they keep pushing? And oh, by the way, let's hope and pray that everybody stays healthy. Everybody stays healthy. So they got a chance. At least for the play-in. They got a chance for the play-in. And we got to put things in perspective. Yes, this team dealt with the worst COVID outbreak of any of the NBA teams. And there are players on the team that are still dealing with lingering effects of that. Yes, they lost Thomas Bryant early in the season. So let's see what happens. To Sam's point, you got to stop playing down to the competition. If you're playing up against the top teams, which is showing per the record, keep playing up. Keep playing up. Keep making a name for yourself, because I think they're a lot better than what we've seen in previous games. So We're going to keep hope alive, like Joyce said. We're going to keep hope alive for the Wizards. Now, next week, I might be out. I might be on the show falling out again, mad and angry. Hopefully, I won't. Hopefully, it'll still be good vibes. So, moving on to the final topic of the evening, and that would be the Washington football team. I saw the 85 South fan club check in. Washington football team fans, where are you? Check in. Let's see these like and love emojis. I want to see it. I want to see it. Please, please, please check in. I think, what am I going to do tonight? So we got to talk about the names. Talk about the names. All these names. All these potential names. And I try not to talk about drama, but I do want to talk about Dan Snyder taking Bruce Allen to court. I want to talk about that. I do. And the team has a new tight end. So, hey, let's get to it. The names. Have you all seen the list of names? Now that the list of names is public and what folks are sharing and potential suggestions and options. I see Sam has already put it out there that he wants the new name to be the Red Wolves. Let me go through some of them. And so I think Damon is already sharing it with everybody. But if you're checking out Damon's comment, check it out there. And let's really look at this list, y'all, and see which ones you really like and would consider. So we got aces, ambassadors, the anchors, the archers, aviators, the beacons, the commanders, the defenders, the demon cats, the guardians, the icons, the monarchs, the pilots, presidents, razorbacks, red tails, red wolves, red hogs, the renegades, swifts, the rubies, the Washington rubies. Cameron mentioned that he likes the Warriors. I mean, what does everybody have against the Washington football team? At this point, I'm like, well, listen, I'm okay with the Washington football team. But hey, listen, whatever it is, maybe they just need to be the Washington winners, okay? Because I'm like, hey, listen, keep it the Washington football team. Win, please. And I think everybody will be fine. I think if the team is winning, does people really care about what the name is if the team is doing very well? So, I don't know. Damon, I see your comment. You want a real nickname. Yeah, I definitely see, the reason why folks want a name, because other people have a name. But hey, I think it's kind of cool being the Washington football team. I like the helmets. I like the jerseys, Washington football. It's all good. It's all good, all good, all good. So if you haven't seen the list, I think Damon posted it in the comments. If you don't see it there in the comments, make sure you go online and check out. It's about 30 or so suggestions currently. I believe the list could potentially keep growing. Remains to be seen. It'll be a thing potentially by next year, 2022. So always a story to watch. Always a fun topic. And then we'll see what happens. But for now, it's still the burgundy and gold. Still Washington football. Still NFC East champions of 2020. So, it's all good. Now, who has been up to speed and up on the news of Dan Snyder filing a motion of discovery against former team president Bruce Allen in a federal court? Let me tell y'all something. Look, I'm not saying that Bruce Allen is the reason why all this stuff started coming out last year. But I am going to say it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out if it was him. Now, Dan has filed this motion of discovery. So I think, Arias, I may have seen your point about drama. So yeah, it's more drama, unnecessary. This latest filing, Dan wants records of Bruce's text messages and everything to prove that the defamation of character that Daniel Snyder is claiming came directly and was rooted in Bruce Allen. He believes the root of all of the stories and allegations came directly from Bruce, and he has since filed a motion in a federal court to get to the bottom of it. Hey, all I'm saying is, I think I wanted to bring it up because it's wild how things happen, right? And they were when Bruce was the president of the team, it was like Bruce could do no wrong. Dan was going to hold on to Bruce forever. Dan finally fires Bruce. All the stories come out. That is true. All of them did start just truly spewing last year. And now Dan is taking them to court. This will probably be a story that will get traction and that we'll continue to hear about. Again, we want to keep the drama away from the team. We want to do all positive things and just keep all that stuff away. But if you haven't heard about it, Washington football fans, this will be something that you will be hearing about. And that just kind of is what it is. It's kind of unfortunate if you ask me. From pals and buddies to enemies, right before our very eyes. Dang. Oh well. More to come, more to be seen, and just another story to track, just another day in DC sports, But I want to go back to a comment really quick to this being Rivera and this whole era. Ron don't have time for that. This smells and breathes of typical Washington drama, and we just want to keep that away. We're on a good path. We're doing the right thing. Let's just try to stay out of the news for the wrong thing. So, hopefully, it won't get too ugly. And if it does, hopefully they keep that at bay and keep that quiet and behind closed doors. We absolutely have to say what's up to the CWall chaplain, Mazdak. You all give Mazdak a high five. Say what's up to Mazdak as he has joined us. So, tight end. We have a new tight end. Now, here's the thing. Samus Reyes, new tight end, and has never played in a football game. How do you all feel about that? How do you all feel about that? Now, while he's never played in a football game, and he was previously a Division I basketball player, he had many teams and visits planned. Many teams were looking at him, professional teams were looking at him because he's making that transition from basketball to football. And I'm kind of excited about this. It's because it's interesting. And so we've seen, former Division I basketball players make this transition. Another Antonio Gates, right? Potentially, right? Jimmy Graham was a Division I basketball player. Tony Gonzalez was a Division I basketball player. So these are big names, right? That we talking about. So it's not like we should be freaked out. I did kind of make a face. I was like, oh, he's never played in a football game? Oh, okay. But to John Adams' point, all he has is upside. Listen, Washington wasn't the only team that was eyeing him. So that's wasn't the only team by far eyeing him. So that's a positive. But you have to admit, like Erias is saying, it is a concern for him. It's a concern for some people. We'll see what happens. But as soon as we saw, I don't know about you all, but as soon as I saw that Thaddeus Moss had been released by the Washington football team, I said, oh, they must have their eyes on another tight end. And sure enough, they signed Rez, and we'll see what happens. A lot of excitement about it and about him. A lot of good positive feedback about him. And he's a player. You all know I always say this. What do I always say? Do they want to be here? Because if they want to be here, we want them here. Especially if they're good. So, we don't know. Remains to be seen. But we knew that there still needs to be, and there could still make a move in the draft. So, I saw some of you mention the draft is coming up. The draft is coming up. Let me tell y'all something about Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera gives absolutely zero hints to what the Washington football team is going to do in the draft. Of course, there's a lot of stories about trading up and everything, and doesn't sound like that's going to happen, at least not for a quarterback. But you never know. You never know what opportunities may present itself. So as we get closer to the draft, we're 2 weeks away. There will be all sorts of mock drafts, all sorts of storylines going, and we can talk a bit more about this next week. But again, let's really think through where else are the other holes that the team needs to fill that they can answer the mail with in the draft. And while we know those positions, it becomes the who, the which player. We know the position needs, but which players do we need to really be targeting and saying, we want to draft this player and make sure they're in the burgundy and gold. So last year, Damon, I see your question. Last year we absolutely did a show because it was starting on a Thursday. We absolutely did a show. We had a good time. I think last year we did a draft night show, and we also did a Saturday show when the draft was over and the draft was complete, to go through all of Washington's picks. So remember last year it was, Washington with the number 2 pick in the first round. Everybody was super excited. Chase Young got drafted, so we had a lot of fun. And because the show of the way the show that is timed, what did we do last year, y'all? We had trivia, and we were just talking and just enjoying and just getting ready for the team to officially announce that Chase Young was going to be in the burgundy and gold. Now, this year is not as easy, I'm thinking, of trying to figure out what the Washington football team is going to do, especially considering their draft position. But yes, we will absolutely still be doing a show and talking all of our favorite DC sports. And we'll probably do one toward the end of the draft as well, like we did last year, to go through all of the Washington team's picks and evaluate them and see and grade them. And let's see how we're doing and have some fun and sit here and chit chat, because, hey, listen, when is there a dull moment in DC sports? That would be never. You guys, we have come to another show in the history books. Can you believe it? Another Thursday, another show in the history books. You all, please, 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 please be safe. Please wear your mask. Wash your hands. Prayers up for everybody. Make sure you're enjoying yourself. Listen, we have so much fun every Thursday talking sports with you all, and I hope you guys have fun too. So listen, I don't know. I feel like I still want to talk about something, but I am at the end of my run of show agenda. So, but yes, you guys stay safe and stay blessed, and I will see you guys next week.